What's up, guys? Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, appreciate you tuning in, listening to me talk about these workouts, deep dive into them. If you have any feedback, as always, let me know. If you find value in them, information is in the video description to support me. We're going to break down Thursday, June 5th, which is OTF Foundations. We had done this workout in the past. I can't remember exactly when. Obviously, it will not repeat in the month. We're going to see power on the treads, strength on the weight floor. In the 2G, there is no rowing except for the warm-up. In the 3G, we are going to see some strength-based rowing. In today's video, of course, we'll talk about the 2G, talk about the 3G, and then wrap it on up. So going over the key concepts today, we're going to build rock-solid OT foundations while you squat, pull, push, hinge, lunge, and plank. We throw in a push-up challenge to test your upper body and core foundation. On the treadmills, it is a self-paced power block with all-outs that get shorter and more powerful as you go. It's Tread 50 style, so definitely check out your tread card. So yes, there should be cards hopefully printed out that you could use. There's no rowing in the 2G. Talked about that 3G later. For the floor, back to the basics with 3 blocks that highlight foundational movement patterns. We're going to start with a traditional movement exercise, level it up with either alternating or reciprocating. Each block finishes with a push-up challenge. Count those reps. All right, so we're going to look at the treadmills today, starting off. When you look at the template, it could be coached as a regular style, but the intention is for the coach to prioritize the weight floor, almost like a strength 50 class. So if you treat this workout similar to like strength 50, that would be a good way to kind of approach it. So you forecast the treadmills, get them set up, and then just let them go, let them vibe. Check in a few minutes in, about halfway through, about 5 minutes out to the end, and then of course give them that countdown for that finisher. What we're going to see is a 2-minute push into a 30-second base to prime the body as a buy-in, and then they go into 3 rounds of an all-out walk recovery. Part 1 is going to be a 1-minute all-out followed by a 1-minute walk. They have 3 rounds of that. Part 2 is 45-second all-out, 1-minute walk. Part 3 is 30 with a 1 minute, and part 4 is a 15-second all-out with a 1-minute walk recovery. The goal here is to increase the intensities on each part. For the first part with equal work and rest, I would approach it the idea of maintaining the all-out. And then as we move through, as the all-outs get shorter, but the recovery stays about the same, they should be able to obviously increase in the next part, maintain it for the next 2 attempts. If it's not too bad, as an off-mic challenge for someone, you could encourage them to try to increase the all-out on the 2nd and 3rd round within that part. Of course, it is a 1-minute walk recovery, and like in Tread 50, if they don't need that full minute, they could go into another round sooner. If they stay on time with everything, they will finish their last walk recovery of part 4 at the 22-minute mark-ish. And then they go into a 30-second all-out right there. Now, if people kind of cut some of the time off and they finish a little bit sooner with like the walks and whatnot, and they transition from part to part a little bit quicker, then their bonus is to take it to a walk recovery, or they could tread until you launch them into that 30-second all-out. Okay. Super fun, super festive. I love it. Anyways, when we look at the treads themselves, you know, very typical all-out walk recovery. So peaks and valleys is what we want to draw attention to, not just in terms of intensity, but also with their heart rate response and recovery. So the all-outs, heart starts trending upward. When they hit that walk, it keeps going up before it starts to plateau and then come back down. We really want to see that dip back down to like a mid-range or even low green. Perfect world, they get back down to the blue, fully recovered, and then they are aggressive on that next all-out. People could reset their timer if that helps, so clear out the screen for every all-out, and then go into the walk recoveries. And then that just means you as the coach needs to be on top of either a running stopwatch or just make sure you pay attention to the timing blocks for the weight floor side. Okay, for the bikes and striders, I mean, they're just alternating between all-out gear and minimal gear for recovery as they try to keep those RPMs consistent on the all-outs. And then with the walk recovery portion, gear 5 or less, minimal RPM as well. When it comes to increasing the intensity for the bikes and striders, me personally, I would coach it with the emphasis of trying to increase RPMs rather than trying to increase gear, because there will get a point where too much gear, they're going to grind on the joints as they try to keep those RPMs up high, at least 60. So personally, I would have them to go 6 gears over base every time, but then try to increase the RPMs by like 2 to 5 on each next part. Okay. Now, when we look at the weight floor side, as I said, there's no rowing except for the warm up. Block 1, block 2, block 3 are set up in the same way. We're going to see 2 movement patterns done as supersets. So the first superset is going to be a squat mechanic, 2 different versions, and then the next superset is a horizontal pull, like the low row. In block 2, we're going to see hinge and a horizontal press. And then in block 3, we are going to see lunge movement pattern and a vertical press. Okay, and of course we're going to see a push-up challenge on each one. So going back to block 1, we're going to start off with 5 reps of a goblet squat into 10 alternating transverse squats for 10, 5 per side as they alternate, 10 total. So the way to approach this is members are going to do 10 reps. So pick like a moderate weight the first round. They'll do 5 at a regular tempo, 2 counts down, 2 counts up. And then they're going to do 10 extra where they step out 1, 2, 3. When I get people set up for the goblet transverse squat, if you have the benches out, which you will need since we're doing chest press, I like to use the bench as a visual aid. So if we stand in front of the bench, imagine like that is 12 p.m. on a clock, and we want the people to step around to 3 p.m. They come back to 12, then they step to 9 p.m. and then come back. So if my fingertip is their foot, it arcs left to right. If they step too far and the other foot has to follow, then they're going way too out rotationally. Okay, so 12 to 3, 12 to 9, body ends up at a 45-degree angle, so like 130, 1030. Clocks for the older population is kind of helpful since they are familiar with a clock with the hands. For those Gen Zers, probably not, but whatever. Yeah, once they finish that, they rest, and then we're going to see low row for 5 reps into the reciprocating row for 10 total reps. Okay, same idea. They're going to be doing about 10 reps complete, 5 with both arms, and then 10 single arms, 5 per side. So pick like a moderate weight. If people have any lower back issues, what you could have them do is they could do a strap low row, and then for that reciprocating low row, go into a single arm low row for 5, and then 5 on the other, and try to emphasize minimal body rotation. Okay, so definitely slow it down, control, feet wide, core brace, glutes tight as well. Okay, then at the 6-minute mark, they are doing bodyweight push-ups as a buyout. So right around 5:45 is when you want people to put their weights down, find some space, and get ready for that bodyweight push-up. A couple options. Personally, I would prefer to see like a strap chest press or push-ups from the bench rather than push-ups from the knee, and also quality over quantity. Are they coming all the way down, chest to the deck? Are they getting that full lockout at the top rather than just repping it out like a rabbit on caffeine? All right. With 30 seconds, if they're doing good quality push-ups, they'll probably get, about 8 to 15 good reps. Of course, if they're going fast, they'll get more. If they go slower, they'll get less. But what we're looking to do is stay as close as possible to that rep count on the following blocks, which is going to be challenging. The first block, we're not using any of the chest, shoulders, triceps in an active mechanic. So they're going to be pretty good and pretty strong to do a lot of push-ups. But when we go to block 2 and block 3, chest, triceps, and shoulders are going to be fatigued. So it's going to be harder to match that rep count. So stay within 5 would be a pretty good goal. Block 2, we're going to see deadlift into an alternating step-out deadlift. The recommended option for that step-out deadlift, you could have them go into a single leg bridge. So you could go regular dumbbell bridge and then single leg bridge, 5 on each side. Okay, and then they'll go into the chest press and then the reciprocating chest press, and then repeat those 2 movements sequences You could also, for the deadlift, I'm a personal fan of doing like dumbbell good mornings because the mechanics are the same as a deadlift, but of course keeping that weight closer to the center of gravity helps minimize any minimize any pressure on that lower back. Also helps prevent rounding of the upper back as they try to keep the shoulders engaged as they do that. And if they're comfortable doing the regular good morning, they could try the step out good morning instead of a step out deadlift. So a couple ways to kind of approach it. Because one thing to think about is with the deadlift, it is a lot more of a hamstring stretch compared to a glute bridge. A glute bridge is a lot more of a hamstring contraction. So there's that methodology approach to it. Chest press, they'll do 5 reps, then they'll drop one arm down, switch for 10 more, and then that's a reciprocating chest press. And then they hit that buyout again for 30 seconds. The last block, we're gonna have 5 reverse lunges on one leg, 5 on the other, and then they're gonna alternate for 10 more reps. So that one is really like 20 reps counting with the benches out. If people are not comfortable doing reverse lunges, you could have them do step-ups. So do 5 step-ups on one leg, 5 on the other, and then alternate for the next 10. That way they're still getting that unilateral work. They could also, of course, go body weight, right? But we try to avoid doing more squats because, once again, we're trying to target that specific foundational movement, okay? Then we go into dumbbell shoulder press. So about 45 degrees, all the way up, bicep by the ear, all the way back down. They'll hit that for their 5 reps with a moderate weight, and then 1 up, 1 down, and then they switch for their 10 total. Try to avoid having them rotate too far out. So tuck in slightly, elbows are just right in the corners of their eyes, palms right about a 45-degree angle. They do recommend going with a neutral grip shoulder press or a front raise. And then if you do neutral grip shoulder press, you could do an alternating neutral grip, and then instead of a front raise, they could then go into a single arm bent arm lateral raise as an option there, okay? And then they finish up with the push-up one final time. Super fun. The biggest thing about OT Foundations is you as a coach highlighting the importance of these movement patterns and how they apply to us in real life day-to-day situations, right? So squats, it's the first thing you do when you get out of bed. You put your feet down, you roll up, you sit up, and then you stand up from the bottom of a squat. Low row, you're pulling something, you're grabbing the door handle and you're pulling the door. Deadlifts, you're picking up the groceries off the floor. The chest press, you're pushing the door open, whatever analogy that works for you. With the lunges, the step-ups, climbing up stairs, getting down to the floor to tie your shoes. The shoulder press, you're putting the bowl in that top shelf of your cabinet. Things that we see every single day, right? And that's what they really want you to highlight, to get that buy-in from the members of the importance of strength training and how it carries out to everyday life. Now, when we look at the 3G, tread side is set up the same way with a tread card. They're going to do a 1-minute push, and then they're going to go right into their all-out walk recoveries. The key difference here, it's only 2 rounds for each one as opposed to 3 compared to the 2G for this 3G. 14 and a half minutes, so at that 14-minute mark, you're sending them into a 30-second all-out. For the rower, they're going to do a 2-minute push row. They want to check and remember their distance at a 22 to 24 stroke rate, and then they're going to do 8 squats with the Y-bell/med ball. Then round 2, they're going to do that same row and try to match their distance or beat it, and then they'll do 8 bicep curls, and then do it again with 8 shoulder presses, and then combine all the movements. So they'll start the arms here, or arms straight down, squat down, come up, bicep curl, shoulder press, and then all the way back down. If they finish all 4 rounds, they're going to repeat round 4. But in true, honest opinion here, round 1, between the 2-minute push, transitioning off the rower, doing their 8 reps, getting back on, it's going to be about 3.5 minutes, right? So round 2, that'll put them at about the 7-minute mark, maybe just a little bit behind it. And then we're looking at, 9.5, 10 minutes. And then round 4, they might just finish out and be like about 11:30 to 12 minutes. So they might just get on that rower and do a 2-minute push row until they do an all out. So they might not be able to get to another set of the med ball, Y bell exercise. Of course, they have the choice of a finisher of doing the combo movement with the med ball, Y bell, or they could do an all-out row. Okay. On the weight floor, we're going to see 2 blocks. We're going to take all those foundational movements and kind of rearrange them. So we're going to see the squat, the low row, the shoulder press in block 1 with their alternating and reciprocating versions. You do have that buyout at the very end, so during the last 30 seconds. And then block 2, deadlift, chest press, and reverse lunge. Okay, so block 1, a little bit more upper body focused. Block 2, a little bit more lower body focused. And still same goal of trying to match or beat the push-up challenge at the end. Fun. OT Foundations, there you go. Coach it down.